Hi, thank you for joining me for the second video of this new series that I've started on my Instagram called My Turn. Now, My Turn is based off of the first video that I recently posted about me opening up to the public and sharing with everyone a secret that I've kept to myself for so many years of my diagnosis of OCD at 27. So these next videos, we're going to continue off of that, but instead we're going to be learning more about OCD, and you're going to be joining me on my OCD journey. For those that did watch the first video, I do want to thank you for taking the time to watch it and also share your support and encouragement and kindness. That it was very hard for me to share something very personal like that. So I do want to thank everyone for making it easier for me, and also helping me feel great about that decision that I made. For those that found the video to be sad, I am so sorry. I know it looked like I was going to cry myself to sleep that night, but I had everything bottled up in me for years, and that was me just letting it all out. So the good thing is that these videos are not going to be anything like that. Instead, we're going to be learning more about OCD, because out of all the comments that I received, I noticed not one person really knew much about OCD. Not even those in the medical field. They didn't know that there was more than one type of OCD. So I shared that with my family and friends, and they encouraged me to continue to make more of these videos and educate people on a topic that really isn't talked about a lot. A lot of people don't really know much about OCD other than that excessive hand washing and the repetitive behaviors that can look weird. So OCD is a lot more to that. So these videos are going to cover what the disorder really is, and each video we're just going to cover a couple of questions, a couple of topics, leading us to the end of the series where we're just going to answer the biggest question of them all: is, does everyone have some sort of OCD? So with the information I'm going to be providing you here, hopefully it can get you ready to answer that question yourself when the time comes. I apologize if I mess up, if I slur my speech, if I look dumb or make any crazy faces while I make these videos, but I'm going to be sharing with you information that I learned throughout the year. In no way am I going to be giving any therapeutic advice in these videos. I'm not a therapist. If you want to learn more about OCD, then I will suggest you seek one out. I'm just going to be sharing with you information I've learned about my condition over the years. So today we have two questions. All right. So the first question is, what is OCD? And the second question is, what causes OCD? So the first question is, what is OCD? Well, it stands for obsessive compulsive disorder. So what does that mean? Well, the definition is actually in the title. Someone with OCD has their obsessions, they have their compulsions, and then the disorder that explains what's going on with the person. So obsessions are considered to be mental images, thoughts, impulses, sometimes even memories a person can have that they find very disturbing. A lot of these thoughts and images and sometimes impulses, they can be violent images, they can be violent thoughts, lewd acts that they're thinking of. A lot of the times, these thoughts and images, they go against the person's character and their morals. So these thoughts and images provoke fear, anxiety, a lot of shame, a lot of disgust and guilt. Obsessions make a person very uncomfortable, and they have no control over them, which leads us to our second part of the compulsions, right? Kripke. So compulsions is what a person does to relieve the anxiety caused by an obsession. So in the first video, I mentioned that I have mental compulsions. So what I do to relieve those uncomfortable feelings is I ask my friends for reassurance, and I check my feelings a lot. So I'll ask my friends questions such as, hey, do you guys have these thoughts too? Am I normal if I have these thoughts? Is it bad if I think like this? Did I commit this crime? Am I a monster for thinking this or having these images in my head? And then I'll check my feelings. Hey, does this feel right to me? Does this mean that I need to, go to the cops to this? Does this mean that? So I basically ruminate a lot, and it leads me to then doing a lot of checking to sort of reassure myself and try and relieve those feelings of guilt and fear caused by an obsession. So compulsions, mental compulsions, and then now we have physical compulsions, which is very common in OCD. That's what we can see. So like what I was saying earlier, the hand washing. Some people will shower, multiple times in one day. Someone will check the front door and turn the lock 20 times to make sure it's working correctly. So compulsions can make it's meant to relieve those uneasy feelings caused by an obsession and their repetitive behaviors. So Now it leads us to the disorder part of it, and this explains why obsessions and compulsions happen. So the disorder has to deal with a part of the brain. I'm not a neurologist, so I'm going to do my best to try and explain to you. So we all have a prefrontal cortex, and that is the part of our brain that is our decision maker. It tells us what's good, what's bad, what's better, what's best for us. It tells us not to succumb to any of these urges because there's consequences attached to them. We all have a prefrontal cortex. The unfortunate part is that someone with OCD, their prefrontal cortex has a hard time delivering those messages to the other parts of the brain. So what happens is when an obsession happens, the prefrontal cortex doesn't know what to do with it. So instead, all it's saying is error, warning, you're in danger, something's wrong here, we don't know what to do with it. So what it's doing, it's just an endless loop. The obsessions are not going anywhere. So they're just going in an endless loop, which then causes compulsions to happen. And that's to try and relieve those uneasy feelings caused by an obsession. So what's going on is there's not much serotonin being pushed through the brain, I guess you can say. So these thoughts, obsessions can get really sticky. The brain doesn't tell the person you're safe, you're okay, you don't have to worry about anything, you don't need to act out in these behaviors, you're fine. Instead, like I said, all it's saying is you're in danger. You need to do something about this because it's important what thoughts are coming up. So that's what OCD is. It's a never-ending cycle of obsessions and compulsions, which leads us to the second question that we have. What causes OCD? So I'm going to have a lot of fun with this because I thought of perfect examples on how to explain to someone how OCD is caused. It comes to no surprise for those that know me or follow me. I'm going to be using superheroes or supervillains from the Marvel universe to sort of explain to you how it works. So I have two examples, okay? The first example, Deadpool. So Deadpool is known for his comedic personality and he's practically invincible, right? Before Deadpool was Wade Wilson. Wade Wilson was a mercenary with no superhuman abilities at all. Wade Wilson was diagnosed with cancer and he was approached by someone who said, we can cure you of your life-threatening illness if you join our research. We're doing experiments on people, volunteer, we can cure you. And so that's what Wade does. So he volunteers himself to a private workshop where they are curing people of illnesses and saying that they can also turn them into superheroes. So Wade meets someone named Francis, who in the movie wants to be called Ajax after the dish soap. Francis says to Wade, we're going to be injecting you with this serum that's going to activate any mutant genes inside of you. But in order for the serum to work, we're going to have to put your body under an extreme amount of stress. That's exactly what happened. Wade is now Deadpool because of it. So the second example that we have, Scarlet Witch. Now Scarlet Witch is known for her remarkable abilities and the fact that she can take down Thanos single-handedly if he hadn't cheated. Before Scarlet Witch, you have Wanda Maximoff. Wanda Maximoff and her brother Pietro volunteered to join Hydra's research on creating enhanced soldiers. Instead of serum, Hydra was using the scepter that Loki wielded in the first Avengers and was exposing it to the Sokovian citizens to see if they can create these soldiers that they wanted. That's exactly what happened. Wanda was exposed to the scepter, and now we have Scarlet Witch. And now we have WandaVision, and in one of the episodes, it can show you what I'm referring to. So I don't think that's a spoiler. Anyways, so what does this all mean? What am I trying to say? Well, there's two parts to how OCD is caused. The first part is that the person has to be born with an OCD gene. The second part is that they needed to have gone through a stressful event or events to trigger that OCD gene. And that's how it's caused. So they're still doing research to narrow down everything as far as what exactly causes OCD. They sort of had narrowed it down so far that it's coming from someone in the family, but triggering that gene is what can really give you the obsessions and the compulsions. So that is all that we have for today. Just those two questions. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. Hopefully I'm able to reach out to someone that can really use this. I don't know who I'm going to be reaching out to or who's going to be watching this, but for anyone that's watching this, I do want to thank you. For those that just want to learn about OCD, just to sort of have some extra knowledge, this is also great for you. I'm going to be sharing with you everything that I've learned and giving people more education behind what OCD really is about and how it is an unfortunate disorder. It's a serious one. So I'm going to be making more of these videos. Feel free to ask me any questions that you have. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.